face right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Balls in Your Face Marketing. Today we are discussing the fall of Rome, and I am joined by my favorite doctors of philosophy and founders of the Petrarch Institute, Dr. Miles Smit and Dr. Alexander Rosenthal-Pubúl. For me, it begs the question, could the fall of Rome have been prevented had the Romans been able to read about it beforehand, and what could have been done to prevent it? So with an eye towards the modern Western civilization, what happened?
Yeah, well, of course, it's a question that has been asked many times before in history, perhaps most famously by Edward Gibbon in his classic text, The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. And I think one of the reasons why it is a topic of fascination for us is because the Romans, in many ways, were a civilization quite a bit like our own. In fact, in the case of the United States, it was quite consciously modeled after the Roman Republic. You had a sophisticated economy with international trade, based around international trade, a highly sophisticated civil administration, municipal schools, and an advanced culture in the arts and letters and all this sort of thing. And then we start seeing, particularly in the 3rd century, sort of the breakdown of this world. And I think it's sort of, there's a quote from the 4th century, Ammianus Marcellinus. He wrote that the libraries are closing forever like tombs. Just imagine cities emptying out, the economy collapsing and returning to a barter system, people no longer using money, a system of trade that united the Roman Empire along the Roman roads collapses, the roads are covered over. This whole, and the economy turns local. As people leave cities, they go into the countryside to sell their labor, as it were, to the great landowners, right? And you have the development of these local economies, which is really the basis of the Middle Ages. So I think that one of the reasons it fascinates us is because you have a society very much like our own. We have the idea of progress, that things should get better and better, right? With each passing decade, we kind of have this in our head. But I think that there's this other voice that looks back on the fall of Rome and thinks, could it happen to us? Could our civilization decline? And civilizations fall. So I think that's why it's exerted an enduring fascination. As far as why exactly it happened, there have been a wide variety of theories, of course. Someone like Spengler thought of the rise and fall of civilizations like a life cycle. You know, civilizations are born and sort of in a deterministic way, they collapse. At a certain point, they live, they're born, they live, they prosper, and then they die, right? In a very organic model. Others have emphasized the economic and the political. There has been, we just recently did a video not long ago emphasizing sort of the biological and climatological things that were going on. There was a massive plague during this third century crisis that possibly killed millions of people and contributed to the depopulation of cities. And all of these theories are kind of interesting and have made their contributions to what occurred. But it's interesting to me that among the Romans themselves, they did not think of it as a deterministic, necessary process. They wrote themselves about their own process, what they saw as the process of decline, and they attributed it principally to the realm of mores.
I was thinking, when we talk about the fall of Rome, and Alex, you addressed this in talking about some of their strengths, the question that presents itself is, what did Rome fall from, right? What was its height and what was the basis of its strength? Why is it looked at as a model? I'm not a historian, so I always tend to like the sort of the maximum simplifying and synthesizing principles that you can apply. And the two things I kind of think of across its history as it transitions from republic to empire is, Republican virtue first, and then imperial competence. So the two things that are really striking are this emphasis on a kind of robust, stoical, austere, courageous, and implacable, almost agrarian-based virtue, which is the kind of Republican building block. And then they get very good at administrative arts. They're very good as military campaigners. They're very good as engineers. They're very good at logistics, giant maps on walls, rooms where they know all the movement of people through the ways and the management of huge supplies of grain. So, that's sort of what they possessed at a certain point. And the question is, why is that eroded at a certain point? And you mentioned the kind of dichotomy in historical accounts where people tend to favor either a fall away from something human, active in principle that was done, and then when it's not done, always present adverse forces like the ocean roll in, or is it something that's material and adventitious? So something comes along like a virus or a new enemy on a certain frontier, or some kind of mechanical, analyzable force that undermines the vitality of the state. And it's interesting because that's a kind of rival interpretive lens issue in history, and it's really interesting when you apply it to Rome, because Rome is a good case study for both historical categories in a way, right? The idea that decline is a choice is very richly rewarded if you look at Rome, because they start off with a kind of model of virtue that's much discussed, and at the same time, anyone who's interested in any of the material causal factors of history has centuries, huge terrain, and an ample variety of different kind of incidents and factors. One thing that I thought was interesting, as I say, not being a historian, but what struck me when I learned it was in later Rome, you see two things in parallel that you might not necessarily expect, which is corruption and increasing wealth. So there's a period of time in which revenues are actually going up, but in some ways the fabric of the empire is weakening because there's so much corruption in various forms distributed at different levels of society and across the empire. So not all the vital signs are going in the same way at the same time.
You almost need a little bit of background in classical antiquity, let's say, to decode Washington, D.C., right?
Yeah.
I mean, there you have on Capitol Hill, Senate, right? Deliberating in a republic where John Adams used to carry Cicero around with him wherever he went. I mean, the founding fathers very consciously were building a new Rome, the new world, right? And then you look at all the neo-Roman classical architecture everywhere. You just realize the long shadow that this civilization has cast everywhere that Western civilization exists pretty much.
Well, I'm reminded, hearing what you were both just talking about, I'm reminded of a quote, and I don't know who to attribute to, you may, which is, even if history does not repeat itself, it certainly rhymes. As is often said, to know where you're going, it's important to know where you've been. I think the study of history in these subjects is exceptionally important. So I encourage people to go and check out the Petrarch Institute. I will put links above and below, and as I said, they are now on UDEMY. So you can go and sign up for courses there and learn about classical antiquity. So gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you, Julian. It was a pleasure.